How many hermit crabs have you eaten in your lifetime? Before you answer that question, let me ask you something else. Have you ever eaten at Red Lobster? Because if you have, and you sampled any of their savory lobster dishes, from lobster-topped mac and cheese to lobster bisque to this abomination known as lobster pizza, what you consumed was not lobster at all. It was a 3-inch bottom-feeding cousin of the hermit crab, called langostino. Langostino translates to little lobster in Spanish, but there is nothing lobster about these cheap culinary replacements. Langostino costs about half as much as Maine lobster, which would explain why they've become so popular with restaurants looking to squeeze every dime they can out of consumers. If this seems like a fishy scheme in the world of seafood to you, well, that's because it's quite shellfish indeed. The legality behind how restaurants like Red Lobster, Long John Silver's, and others can sell deceptive food and mislead the public can be attributed to a combination of factors, such as lenient regulations, uninformed consumers, and of course, the power of marketing. Before we go on, I have a joke. Why would a lobster subscribe to Brainball? Because it's some clawsome content. Seriously, like and subscribe, or the jokes get much worse. To be fair, Red Lobster is hardly the first company to mislead their customers through the pizzazz of ad sales, fancy lingo, and expensive branding. The term Corinthian Leather was coined by the Chrysler Corporation in the 1970s to promote the luxury and exclusivity of their vehicle interiors. It was used in their advertising campaign for their Chrysler New Yorker and other models. The implication was that Corinthian leather was a high-quality, luxurious material. In reality, there is no specific type of leather called Corinthian leather, and it does not refer to a particular origin or manufacturing process. It was a term created for marketing purposes to give the impression of luxury and sophistication. In 2004, Dasani, a brand of bottled water owned by the Coca-Cola Company, faced a significant controversy and negative publicity in the United Kingdom. The issue arose shortly after Dasani's launch in the UK market. The controversy centered around the revelation that Dasani's bottled water in the UK was, in fact, sourced from the local tap water supply, rather than from a natural spring or other pristine source, as some consumers might have assumed from the marketing. The water was purified and treated, but it was essentially purified tap water. And now, for a bit of useless trivia. Back in 2013, a European scandal erupted when horse meat was discovered in various meat products labeled as beef. The scandal originated in Ireland, when horse DNA was detected in frozen beef burgers sold in several supermarket chains. The international investigation into the scheme led to fines for several companies and prison sentences for many executives involved in the fraud. So, how was Red Lobster finally caught in this year's long game of diner deception? Was it a whistleblower from corporate? Perhaps a disgruntled employee with an axe to grind? Or maybe a noisy government inspector following a burning hunch? Actually, it was a syndicated news program who had the bright idea to test the authenticity of foods being sold to the public through scientific DNA analysis. Inside Edition was the first to blow the whistle on Red Lobster in February 2016. In the report, they tested 2 bowls of the chain's lobster bisque and found that one contained a mix of lobster and langostino, and the other bowl was 100% langostino. That means that the second bowl of lobster bisque contained 0% lobster. There was an immediate uproar from both the media and the public, who demanded transparency with what they were being served versus what they were being sold. In response, Red Lobster issued the following statement: "We serve a variety of lobster, including North American lobster, Maine lobster, rock lobster, and langostino lobster. Our most recent recipe of lobster bisque is made with a combination of Maine lobster and langostino lobster. We are planning to revise our menu to inform guests that lobster bisque contains both Maine lobster and langostino lobster." In 2023, they still serve this langostino lobster, but after the Inside Edition story exploded, Red Lobster was forced to update their menu and website. They now distinguish which recipes include actual Maine lobster and which ones include hermit crab. Whoops, I mean langostino lobster. The Red Lobster website takes it a step further with this fanciful description of the controversial menu addition. Langostino may be small, but but they have great taste. The langostino we serve comes mostly from a single supplier that is eco-certified. Langostino, also called squat lobster, is usually not longer than 3 inches and has a compact tail. Funny, but nowhere on the site or menu do they actually state that these are not lobster at all. Over the years, seafood restaurants like Red Lobster and fast food alternative Long John Silver's have drawn criticism for marketing langostino as lobster in appetizers and snacks, but because of lax laws, this is 100% legal. According to the FDA, restaurant menus must read langostino or langostino lobster to avoid consumer confusion. But is it working? Long John Silver's offers these buttered lobster bites, even going as far as serving them in a cardboard container meant to look like a traditional lobster tail. The commercial proudly declares the deep-fried snack is 100% langostino lobster. But how can you have lobster bites if there isn't an ounce of actual lobster in the recipe? Do customers actually know what they're buying? By the FDA allowing the name lobster to be attached to these non-lobster sea creatures, they're helping to further spread the consumer confusion they claim to be against. Dishonest business practices and food seem to go hand in hand. To learn about the time Quaker cereal made 21 million American kids Alaskan landowners, only to rip it all away years later, click this video on your screen now. Thanks for watching Brainball.